It's a three-step systematic attack on the entire national infrastructure.
And pretty soon the women at the office start looking better and better, and your family looks worse and worse, and before you know it, boom, you've lost everything.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. I get to resurrect Terminator Jesus. Trump Ice 2025. The reason why I'm doing Trump Ice 2025 videos, in case you're new, is because of the Book of Mormon. We'll come back to Psalms 115. First Nephi chapter 1 verse 2. The Book of Mormon is written in the learning of the Jews. So not Christian, not Islamic, not Hindu, Buddhism, anything else. Jewish, pre-Babylonian captivity. For in the commencement of the first year of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah. Pre-Babylonian captivity, Jewish Egyptians. Thus, language of the Egyptians. Judah was tributary to Egypt until Babylon was the first nation to conquer Judah. Judah was always tributary to Egypt. Thus, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords of Judah was always Pharaoh of Egypt. If you're not going to follow my channel, don't use your stupidity to tell me that I'm wrong. You will get owned. David Moses III. Armageddon 1. So, verses 8 through 10 tells us that the learning of the Jews involves prophecy. There came prophets. And this is where the Book of Mormon corrects the false translation of the Bible with another example of Revelation, the time, day and hour. Mormon chapter 8 verse 33. Revelation is not inspiration. That is the error of Christianity that denies prophecy and revelation, that it all died with the deaths of the apostles. So no more prophecy, no more revelation, no more visions. And so Christians have to then change definitions of words, not just alter the translation. So repentance, for example, yeah, Christians created that word. It's a second physical pain. Repent, Mormons. Repent. Book of Mormon corrects this, both the Hebrew and the Greek versions that are incorrectly translated as repent. And so change your path for Hebrew, change your mind for Greek. So we have a time given to us for a prediction of the future when the Jewish Christ, not Jesus, remember, would start his ministry. Verses 8 through 10. And it's the one that all Jews use. 23rd September 2017. When the first year of the day of darkness, an hour of darkness, occurred over the United States of America. So, knowing that the Book of Mormon is prophetic, revelatory coding, you go to 3rd Nephi chapter 7, and we read, "Now behold, I will show unto you that they did not establish a king over the land, But in the same year, yea, the 30th year, they did destroy the judgment seat, upon the judgment seat, yea, did murder the chief judge of the land. And the people were divided one against another, and they did separate one from another. And thus they did destroy the government of the land. And they yielded themselves unto the power of Satan, and the regulations of the government were destroyed because of the secret combinations of the friends and kindred of those who murdered Joseph Smith and Hiram. Real easy to decipher and decode, because Joseph gave you the decoder ring in numerous places. Even the Book of Mormon gave it to you, but Joseph Smith's most simplest one, section 103, verses 15 to 18. Behold, I say unto you, the redemption of Zion must needs come by power, the latter-day Zion, for the millennium. Therefore I will raise up unto my people a man. Notice it's not Jesus. That's the Jewish Christ. And they will not footnote it for you. They don't want you to know. Who shall lead them, like as Moses led the children of Israel. For Mormons are the children of Israel, and the seed of Abraham, and must needs be led out of bondage by power and with a stretched out arm. So you take this into the Bible, into the Book of Mormon, into Joseph Smith's prophecies and revelations, like section 45, and you replace the people with Mormons. You replace the hero of the story with the Mormon Christ, who is a Mormon. And then the false prophet, the bad guy, with the leader of the great and abominable church, holding Mormons in bondage. Must needs be led out of bondage. Okay, so like the Exodus of Moses, Moses is the Mormon in the latter days, who starts his ministry the 23rd of September 2017. And then the house of Israel are Mormons, and they are subjected to Pharaoh, which is both government and the religious leader, because it was a theocracy for that story. Whereas we know it's the United States of America because of the 3 days of darkness that are given to us by all the Jewish authors from 2017 to 2024, the latter days. And so the president who started ruling over the United States of America in 2017 was Donald Jesus Trump. And the false prophet of the great and abominable church, holding Mormons hostage, yoking them to the iron yoke of Jesus, to Jesus and his yoke. He is a yoke. It's Jesus. You yoke yourself to him. Is Russell Marion Nelson. And wouldn't you know it, Russell Marion, baby name meaning for Mars. The husband of Venus, the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. Hey, that's the symbol on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. Right there, all Mormons could have figured it out. You had the Book of Mormon, you had the words of Joseph Smith, even though, like the Bible, Brigham Young tampered with it, changing definitions, adding in and taking out from the words of Joseph Smith. Real simple stuff. So thus, Trumpize 2025, because little sister Jessica leaked Dallin H. Oaks confessing that 2020 was the Exodus year, but instead decided it was going to be a test run. Bastard. Bastard. After 2021's fulfillment, I'm like, what the hell? The Final Four didn't happen. What the hell happened? What went wrong? Did I miss something? Is there something else? And I was searching through the scriptures. I'm doing the videos. I'm thinking, okay, they failed. So I'm doing failure videos and all that stuff. And finally, the end of last year, the Mormon YouTube employee who lives in Utah County recommended to mock me a Mormon channel. And one of the videos that was recommended to me was about this leak from Sister Jessica. And I went, oh, you bastard, Oaks. You bastard. And so you'll notice lately, I've been intentionally doing videos about the Mormon YouTube employee's recommendations for me from his Utah County basement apartment. And so last night, where I'm scanning over the news so that I can do the Trump Ice video for you today, no recommendations from Mormons anymore. Yes, I did it. And he started recommending my old stuff. Never has he ever recommended my old stuff. It's always other Mormons. See, Travis, we're true. Oh yeah? You think so, huh? He just doesn't learn. He is not smarter than me in Mormonism. He does not know Mormonism. The church makes sure you are stupid about Mormonism. And you don't get it. I studied. I'm from the old school Mormonism. We were told to study. We were told to learn the context. We were told to learn the original languages. And it wasn't until Mark Hoffman and especially September 6th that the church said, okay, intelligence is of the devil. And went full on into spiritual witness feelings, so that you will be stupid and not know your scriptures, not know the doctrine of Mormonism, so that you will be clueless when the church hinge points under Nelson to go all in to transform this church into the great and abominable church of Lucifer, resurrected from the Brigham Young grave. And so you don't get it. The Mormon employee last night was refusing to process my child grooming video from the church news. I had to repost it because the bastard didn't want you to know that information. This is what people who come to my channel don't get. You don't see the abuse that's happening to me, unless the abuse that happened, it was yesterday, wasn't it? In which you saw the video at the beginning of the snapshot of YouTube banning my video for the clip. And it has to do with the YouTube rejecting and denying the laws of the land regarding copyrights. Copyrights were originally given in the Constitution to protect the inventor, creator, decipherer, discoverer, patent maker, so that they get paid, so that nobody else steals it and gets paid instead of them. And so that's why black market economies, stealing other people's stuff and publishing them as their own to get paid for it, rather than giving the money to the original author, is illegal. And at least I was taught, I don't know about you guys, in grade school for English class, when we were doing reports, we were taught, don't plagiarize. If you need to take a quote from a book, you can take, according to copyright law, 10%. You still have to put it in quotes and then give the reference of who said that. And so with the meme technology that's come out on the internet, you get a lot of misquoting as a result. And so you actually have to fact check to make sure. Church quotes from conferences, you have to check. They don't put the adequate quote. Which conference? When did Oak say that? And so it's provided me with extra work to find that, but nonetheless, if I can verify it, then I will use the picture. And then you have AI that emerges, and all hell's broken loose. We're getting there. It's an AI Trump 2025 video. AI Trump-wise 2025. And thus the AI Terminator Jesus. And so, same for videos. It's the same process. But YouTube refuses to accept this. Now, during the Biden administration, we had found out, after the fact, that Biden and Harris came to the social media platforms and told them to violate the rights of the First Amendment to creators. That creators who post a video that the deep state Dems disapproved of had to be banned. So the Utah Mormon employee from Utah County said, hey, I like that. We'll do it on Travis's videos. So there were a lot of videos that weren't violations that the Mormon employee said, bleep you, Travis, because the content destroys this church. Because you guys didn't bother to do your research. I did. I expose it. And thus, so the YouTube Mormon employee from Utah County is protecting this church. He is most likely in contact with the Strengthening Church Members Committee because of the video I did about Adam fell. It's from the Book of Mormon, 2 Nephi chapter 9. My mission president at the MTC told us at the beginning, read this chapter every single day while you're in the MTC. And it's a long one, but nonetheless, I obeyed. And there it is. Adam fell. Not Eve, Adam. And yet, this church told my bishop, through the Strengthening Church Members Committee, tell Travis to pull down that video. It's going against the living prophets of Jesus. No, the living prophets of Jesus are going against the Book of Mormon. They need to be taken down. They need to give it all back to the man like Moses. And they won't, because they're the church of the devil. And so that's why I'm out of the church. That's why I'm naked. Barn! I know, all the women all of a sudden got flushed and they're now breathing heavy. Just the office. When Dwight saved Jim from Roy, she was asking everybody to tell her what happened, and she was all getting excited. And then Dwight went and murdered her cat. Oh my God. And so yes, I'm finally at the part where Pam finally figured out that Jim loved her the whole time. That she loved Jim. Just crushing his heart. Teasing him, leading him along with friendship and happiness and joy. And going home to have sex with Roy. Dear God, I don't know why Jim put up with her. Other than that she's very attractive. But yeah, office romances are the better places because you get to spend time with the person. Whereas a dating relationship where you don't see each other any other time, you can't get to know a person that way. It takes too long, and separation does not grow fondness. Separation creates a separation of the heart and mind. As you move on, a bunch of people got fooled by psychologists who told you that if you love them, let them go, and if they don't come back, hunt them down and kill them. It's so true because it's in words. But the video that was banned for copyright violation was just a clip of a video. I own the content. I purchased my own copy of the content. And I'm finding out that it's out of order. I've got to go back in and reorganize it into the order. Oh my God. But nonetheless, it's mine. I own it. And so I can do whatever I want with it because I own it. Now, I cannot post it on YouTube, the full episode, as mine, because it's not. They still own the copyright, even though I've purchased the rights to have my own. And so, similar to a book, as my videos are completely different content. I'm not reenacting the whole show. This is a religious channel about religious content topics, and so the show talked about pyramid schemes. I was talking about the church and its pyramid scheme. And thus, it's not a copyright violation. And yet, nope, YouTube doesn't give a damn about the United States Constitution. They don't give a damn about Trump and his executive order to allow free speech, even though he's now taking it away. But you need to understand Trump. Otherwise, you're going to panic like the deep state Dems or misunderstand like Fox and Governor Cox. We need clarification. Why are you kicking out Mormons from Utah? You can't do that. We need clarification. Hello? Are you really that stupid? Mr. Cox, oh my God, he just flip-flops back and forth. And it's just pathetic. What a loser he is. God. And so, yeah, it's not going to surprise me at all if Trump decides, wait, Utah is not MAGA country? I went on SNL to tell Mohammed bin Salman that Utah loves me. Out in the desert, just like Islam. when you know when that Matthew was written, telling you not to go into the desert when a guy says that that's where Jesus is. He was prophesying, first of all, but it was in the context of the monasticism movements of those who were going into the actual desert of Egypt to form their monastic group, to purge themselves of all technologies of the world. The first attempt of monasticism involved both men and women, and then they soon found out that their human natures will not abstain from sex. So that quickly failed. But then afterwards, you get another genius who thinks, oh, yeah, we just need to eliminate women from our monastic group. And so that was a little more popular and lasted a little bit longer. And then, of course, Catholics picked it up. And we all know the fruits of monasticism, don't we? Little boys, altar boys, choir boys. The sex abuse that goes on. So yeah, the new Pope, it's now surfacing that he had not taken care of the scandals of sex crimes against little boys properly. As everybody was cheering for a new Pope, and now all the critics come out to play. So, yeah. And so I let everybody know that YouTube violated the laws of the land to shut me down on that video because of its damage exposing this church. Because the church claims they're Christian, not Jewish, which anybody who is literate can figure out for themselves. It's not complicated. So, therefore, everything the church does and says and forces upon other people to take away their agency is thus of the devil. And thus I do my videos to warn you, to educate you, and to prepare you for Pentecost on June 1st. Apparently we were even going to go overtime. It's going to piss me off. We've gone too much overtime. Test run in 2020, you bastard. God. Nonetheless. So, let's get to the scripture then. Psalm 115. Oh, man. It's unbelievable. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is now their God? But our God is in the heavens. He hath done whatsoever he hath pleased. Their idols are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. Now you do know the 10 Commandments of the Jews. Thou shalt not have any other gods but the Jewish Christ, who's coming on the 23rd of September 2017. You wouldn't be stupid as a racist bigot to say it's Jesus that was meant by the Jewish authors. Right? You would not have such hatred in you, right? From stupidity. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands. They have 2 little hands that are folded snugly and tight. No touchy. Don't tamper with your little factory. But they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat. And so it's my favorite apocryphal scripture, which is probably my favorite scripture, was a post-Constantine Christian one about Bel. Too many people make the mistake of saying Bel and the dragon. No, that's a separate story. Bel is first. It's a separate story. It's where Daniel and the king, I think it's still Nebuchadnezzar, doesn't matter. The king thinks that his idol statue god in the Holy of Holies of the Marduk temple of Ur of Babylon, not the Tower of Babel, is real, because every day, right before they close up the Holy of Holies for the night and seal it up, they present it with food and drink offerings. And they shut the doors, seal it up, and then they come back in the morning, hey, the food's empty, gone, he's eating it, he's drinking it. Food and drink offerings are gone, therefore the idol statue god is real, because the god had come and used it. That's where we get Santa Claus from. Maybe. Very possible. It's the same concept. You have to go to bed for the night, and then in the morning, oh, the cookies and milk are gone. Same process. Santa is our idol statue god for Christmas, replacing Jesus. You can only leave cookies and milk for Jesus, not Santa Claus. Don't even get me started on Valentine's Day and Mother's Day. Worshipping of the goddess. It's where it all comes from, people. And thus you can see the damage that Christianity has done to the original pagan practices. And so Daniel sighs, oh my God, are you really this stupid? It says, here, let's put some of this powder sand substance, sand we'll say. If you know the punchline of the joke already. Sand is put all over the floor. And they go back so that they don't put footprints in the sand. Shut the doors, the king seals it. And so they go back in the morning. Sure enough, see, Daniel? My God is true. The food and drink are again gone. King, there are footprints in the sand. They found a secret passageway to the tent of the priests, who had been deceiving the king into believing that God was real, when they were merely taking that for their food and drink for them and their families, which was the original practice. This is where Christians come in to say that temple worship is wrong. But nonetheless, the king, being deceived and tricked by the priests, had them all murdered. And then worship Jesus of Daniel, the Jewish boy from Judah. So, Psalms 115 is in that same line as the Apocryphal. story, or apocryphal account of Bel. Daniel and Bel. They that make them are like unto them, because they make them for the sole purpose of believing that they have magical powers, that clearly they don't, and get other people to believe it, and to purchase a statue for them, or to go to the temple or the sanctuary or whatever little place where the statue would be placed in, and you give food and drink offerings as part of the ritual for the temple. I can't believe I can't remember. Anyway, moving on. And so that's what it means. That you are creating your own religion, your own God. Joseph Smith in section 1, verse 14 to 16 says that Mormons will do that in the latter days. And remember, we're there. Latter days are over. We're in 2025. 2024's final day of darkness, final hour of darkness, the time from Revelation has already happened last year. And so Mormons are wicked. Mormons are still in bondage to the great and abominable church, being lied to and deceived, creating their own version of Mormon Jesus. And the church is allowing it for now. They're setting you up, by the way. They're going to destroy your faith bubbles to see if you will still cave to their will. Give up your beliefs to worship Lucifer in the millennium. And that's if they win. Okay? So is everyone that trusteth in idol worship. So, most specifically in the 1900s, you get major advancements in art, though art has been around since the beginning of mankind. Psalms is just a sampling of the types of art that have been around. And you have your different kinds. You've got your Impressionism, your Realism, your Picassoisms. They're all different kinds of arts. And you've had critics throughout all time that it's not their kind of art, and that the art needs to change to their will. In our day and age, we are having art contests. And you can't judge art. There is no standard of measurement to accurately determine whether art is good or bad, right or wrong, true or false. Because it's just art. You know, a little kid, yeah, there's certain things you want to look for. Does mommy have 15 fingers on her hands or no fingers on her hands? Or is the child aware that mommy has 10 fingers with 2 thumbs and draws that accurately on the thing? Does she draw a triangle for mommy's belly or a stick for mommy's belly? Does the child extend the stick further down for daddy? Or was it just an error as a child? These are things you watch for a child's development. But you don't tell a little kid that their art sucks and make them cry. That's why mothers typically would pin it on the refrigerator. is to help encourage the child to continue to do art, because you're able to see the child's development in both of what the physical reality is being interpreted as for them, plus also the psychological development of the child as well. Just keep psychologists away from them. Because you can have a child who knows nothing about behavior and good or bad associated with the five physical senses. So as a baby, you know, the siblings can be all goth, vampire, Satan worshippers, but as long as the child is loved and taken care of by their siblings, the sibling will associate the appearance of their siblings with the inverted cross of, or inverted pentagram of Lucifer, and the blood-soaked tattoos on their skull. As good. And so thus it's kind of important to teach kids correctly, but morality is only understood by babies as, are they getting cared for and taken care of? And that's how they associate with who loves them and who doesn't. And so that's the terrible twos. They figured out you don't love them anymore. I want candy! And so, yeah, if a toddler uses the black crayon, you don't need to freak out and think that they're going to commit suicide or murder. It's just that they don't understand an association of black with evil. And yet we teach it to kids. In grade school, I went to class and the teacher wanted to find out what our favorite things are that you ask on a first date with a grade schooler girl. Which, you know, I'm Mormon, we don't do that. You can't date until you're married. And then you're married, so what's the point of dating? And so we're asked what our favorite car is, what our favorite shows are, and what our favorite colors are. My favorite color was pink. It wasn't because I was gay. Like my peers bullied other kids to believe. And so I couldn't say pink. And it had to do with Beth from kindergarten. And so I was not allowed to say pink is my favorite color. And so I just said blue, because that's the stereotypical boy color. I like blue. And so my mom sees this on the paper that I had to do, and so she thinks my favorite color is blue. And so she makes t-shirts for me that are blue. And so, yeah, it was fine. Dodger blue, great, whatever. My favorite color is pink. Always has been. My attractant color is pink, because I liked pink as a child. I conditioned myself by liking pink to be attracted to pink when it enters into my presence. Whereas the majority of other people, red is the attractant color. And they are told that red is their attractant color, and so they go, oh yeah, I guess it is. There's red, sure enough. And so they grow up to become cops, and they're put on traffic duty and have to meet their quota for the month. And so red cars stick out more than other cars. And so that's why red is everybody else's attracting color and pink is mine. I've run the test. When I was told that red was my attracting color, I said, really? Because I thought it was pink. I ran the test. So when I see TV shows where a crowd of people, or I'm in a crowd of people, what is the color that first comes to my eyes? And it's always pink. When they're pink and red, pink. Pink always sticks out first. And so they lied to me. And then I learned that it was a psychological manipulation to brainwash people. And so, along with art, are the other art forms that are typically not considered art, but are. And we need to start thinking them in that term. And so you had books, magazines, comics. They're art in the form of literature. Unless the pictures, but then it's the art into a printed medium of some kind. And then you had your music. It started for me with records, and then 8-track tapes and cassette tapes, and then CDs, and now they're digitized in an MP3 format. And then you had your movies and television, theaters, and then you had the Saturday afternoon movie, and then TV shows. Gotta sneeze. Can I hold it off? Maybe. Maybe. And eventually, they had cameras during all this time, but you had to have it taken to a photo development place or have your own dark room, like my grandpa did in his mansion in the basement, to develop the film yourself. And so then you had the camera that you snap it, and then the thing comes out, and then you flap it and air it off and wait for the picture to magically appear. And then you had other cameras, and then digital cameras now. Then you had the VHS recorder, camcorder that my grandpa Goodsell had, and so home movies are able to be taken by people. And then recorders, VHS recorders, were able to be hooked up to the TV, which was analog back in those days, and you could record your TV shows to VHS tapes that you could buy blank tapes at the stores. And since it was all free, it was perfectly legal to make copies of them yourself. And so you can see that over time, now that we're in the internet and streaming, that all of these companies don't want us to have our own personal copies of stuff. They're now trying to prevent us from obtaining our own copy. And if we want to see stuff, we have to go to their site each and every single time until the internet's no longer available for us. Then what do? Stores don't sell them anymore. Now what do? Exactly. I knew this way back when. I do not want to be subjected to watch only what I'm allowed to be shown. I was not happy with the TV, but there's nothing I can do about it back then. And so, yeah, when I was able to purchase my own cassette tapes for music, that was awesome. And VHS tapes for movies. It was awesome, because I'm now starting to obtain a collection purchased by me of the stuff that I enjoyed so that I can have my own copy of it. But I'm smart enough to know that they are not idol gods just because they have eyes and see, they have ears and hear, they have noses that smell, they have hands and feet that do stuff, and they have throats that speak and eat and such. This is where the art has transformed, and people are able to make idol statues that are lifelike, realism, and then put what they claim is AI. AI is a program, and as a program, it is required to submit their patent or copyright to the government so that the government can make sure that it is not a terrorist threat. And that nobody steals it. Because if somebody comes out with an AI program and then somebody else sees that government patent and then takes it, creates their own AI program, which is an exact copy of the other person's company's AI program, the original company can then sue and use as court evidence the patent that they had gotten with the government, showing the date of when they had invented it, to confirm that the other person did not invent it before they did. And thus the other person who plagiarized the AI program would be the ones who lose their company and go to prison. They don't do that anymore. Companies don't get criminally punished anymore. They get fined if they can get busted. And the bigger the corporation, the more unlikely it is that anybody will get justice. You know, it's big enough for the tobacco industry to finally get busted for putting poisonous chemicals in the tobacco or the cigarettes. The guy, his life was destroyed as a whistleblower. And only then, the tobacco industry only got fined multi-billions of dollars, which was petty cash for them. And I had to stop advertising the kids. No Fred Flintstone smoking a doobie with the Doobie Brothers in the background. Mormons don't understand. Doobie is a joint. And yet, she was so upset with me. No, it's not. It means friendship. What? What the hell? Friendship? Doobie Brothers? Friendship? I was smart enough to know that I'd seen the Saturday afternoon shows of Cheech and Chong to know that a doobie is not friendship. Though they were friends. Though they were friends. Dear God. Mormons, stop it. And so, all throughout history, specifically, well, more so with the advent of Christianity, and then especially evangelicals, after their failure to force all the public school systems to teach their interpretation of Genesis chapter 1 about creation. They wanted to teach creatio ex nihilo in the public school system. The public school judges said, hell no. You've already got your religious freedom in the First Amendment. Back off on forcing your religion onto the rest of society. And so evangelicals were pissed and went on an idol worshiping campaign. This idol is good, this idol is bad. And their major focus was porn. They created what we now know as pornography. they're responsible. Because pornography is two Greek words combined together that the Greeks never combined together. Porn, yes, came from prostitute, which has to do with the abomination of desolation that the Jews called for the Greek practice of taking over the Jerusalem temple and prostituting women in the temple rituals. It was just the creation rituals, just worshiping the goddess. It was just Valentine's Day and Mother's Day. Nothing to see here, move along. Keep paying. But it's paying to have sex with a woman in the temple. The Romans, they added men to the prostitution. And so, yes, Brigham Young changed Joseph Smith's temple rituals with Section 119 in 1844. That now destroyed Joseph Smith's temple rituals and with his endowment ceremony of the 5 covenant paths of loyalty oaths and death penalties for violation, but also to pay to have sex. And so the church are sexual abusers. And apparently this is too much for Mormons to handle. They don't get it. They don't want to get it. They don't want to admit that they are involved in sexual abuse because of their religion. That the underwear, that they still have to cover that up and hide it, is the symbol of their sexual abuse by their religion. Just like for Islam, that has no problem showing the world that they hate women with the hijab and the whole burqa, is it? The whole outfit is a symbol of Islamic sexual abuse on women. That they need to cover up and hide because they're an idol that causes men to all of a sudden turn on their little factories, denying sex ed to justify abusing women. They don't want to teach sex ed. And so evangelicals are likewise on this. And this is led by not teaching sex ed to Mormons, led to the Mormon who came and made a comment and had to say, I gotta stop here. Men only release one sperm. There is no mass genocide. And nobody gets it. Why the 14th Amendment, Section 1, says that when you are born and naturalized, you're a citizen and therefore have equal rights. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, bond, free, you're no longer bond. You now have rights. You are free for life, liberty, and property. And the government can't alter the laws for this, and they did, but this is why women don't understand how dangerous it was to have Roe v. Wade overturned, because it overturned the 14th Amendment, Section 1. This is why Trump is now going after naturalized citizenship. You can't have it. He's already overthrown women's rights. Because if the sperm, embryo, and fetus now have rights and are now being called born as a baby, then the woman can't touch the baby, the womb. She no longer has rights. And this is awful. SCOTUS all needs to be locked up and sent to, what was the new place again? Come on, where are you? BYU, home Mendenhall, Medicaid, jobs. Ah, there it is, South Sudan. I told you, I did the video on this. He did it again. The judges did it again. And so, yes, this is what evangelicals in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are purposely destroying our Constitution over. This whole push to ban porn, to cover women up and hide them, to punish women who get raped. And that's also in the news. To financially ruin and destroy a woman who has free sex or is a single mom. It's an all-out attack on women, and I don't understand why there are women in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, let alone evangelicalism. But nonetheless, there are. And I guess it's back to the blonde jokes back in the 80s. Because they're a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they're a blonde, yeah, yeah, yeah. Which could also be the theme song in the description below. Earth girls are easy. Jim Carrey makes a dancing appearance. And so this is what they've been doing ever since 1900. And of course the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints joined on the bandwagon for this. Is that every new technology in books, magazines, comics, music, movie, TV, art are all getting attacked by the labeling that can't be done for art. It's art. There is no value judgment involved. There is no moral judgment to be had. They're just an idol. There's nothing to it. But they're now starting to move. They're now starting to speak. But no. But they don't want to acknowledge what's going on. They're trying to destroy life, liberty, and property for others. And making up excuses for it. And so this is why the church has embraced psychologists to force them to tell others that the church is true, that porn causes harm. It's just like getting COVID. It will cause blindness. It will destroy your family and your marriage. Pretty soon the women at the office start looking better and better, and your family starts looking worse, and before you know it, boom, you've had orgy sex with all the girls at the office. And now you have to work for an architectural firm where there's only men. You can be together forever someday. Sponsored by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Should we put that in? And so, games. Right. Games also have been under attack to claim that they're of the devil. And so, yes, all of this has been attacked as evil. Harmful to our kids. We need to ban it. We need to censor it. We need to put labels on it. We need to put rating systems on it to protect the kids. That was always their fallback because they couldn't stop it for adults. They always lost those arguments. And so they go to the kids who can't defend themselves. They're abusing children. Nobody sees that this is what they're doing when they think they're protecting children. No, you're abusing children. You are not teaching sex ed, so now you are sexually abusing your children. You need to teach your children correctly. You need to teach science. You need to teach logic. You need to teach truth. And they won't. And so they're trying to change the laws for their extremist religious position. And they're winning. Women no longer have rights. And so men have tried to sabotage this by taking advantage of suing their wife who gets an abortion by saying that he had parental rights over the fetus. It was his sperm. He now has equal rights. No! This is where it's causing problems. And this is why it needs to go back to the 14th Amendment, Section 1. The baby has rights after it takes its breath of life from mommy's womb. Now it is protected, not before. And this whole concept of men only having one sperm per release is part of the consequences of the absurdity from the core falsehood that is corrupting people's minds. And so a guy whose wife comes home and says, I aborted the baby. Well, she just told you she doesn't want to be married to you anymore. She doesn't want your sperm. So the marriage is over. You can now use that abortion in divorce court to say that she did not get your consent. She had married you with a religious contract, which is civilly recognized, but get me started on that abomination. But nonetheless, and that she was promising to have a family and children with you, and then all of a sudden she got an abortion of the baby, and so the marriage is over, and now you're out, having wasted your time with a violation of the contract. But men aren't smart enough to think of that option, or be able to afford a lawyer to think of that option. But nonetheless, yeah, your relationship is over. And so these evangelicals and Mormons have been attacking contraception, birth control, and rights for single mothers also. Smoking heroin. Hopefully it will go away because they're walking on by, right? But it's coming from a distance. It's weird. Anyway. See, I get adverse effects. That's why I'm automatically panicked when I start to smell heroin. Because of the death threats that was given to me in Gail Miller's concentration camp of hell of human trafficking. And they call it a resource center. That's also been in the news. They're saying that the homeless need resources, and so Gail Miller's concentration camps are called resource centers. There are no resources in it. I've been there. There are none. You don't get resources. Should we look up definition of resource for you? To understand how they're lying to you about the homeless getting resources by sending them to a concentration camp. Because my skin breaks out in a rash, and dear God, all of the health problems that instantly emerge from the secondhand smoke. Can't you just take a fentanyl pill? What the hell, guys? Come on. The fentanyl pill does not hurt me, it only hurts you. God, Google, you suck. Am I still recording now? After this little cyber terrorist? Yeah, I'm still recording, okay. Because they put down in the lower corner yesterday, how do you feel about your search results? Screw you and my feelings. How's that for feelings? Okay, so definition number 1, a stock or supply of money. Yeah, the homeless have so much of that. Materials, staff, and other assets that can be drawn on by a person or organization in order to function effectively. And so, yeah, a resource center, no, they do not give out money to the homeless. They do not give out materials or shelter or other assets to the homeless. There is no resources at a resource center. It is a false claim. And it's just, the second one is an action or strategy which may be adopted in adverse circumstances. And so, no, they don't have that for you. They don't have a person who sits down with you. Okay, well, let's figure out how to get a job. Let's see what jobs are available. And let's see what homes are available. No, they don't do that. There's nothing at the resource centers. There's no resources. And yet, oh, yay, a cop rescued a homeless person from being homeless. And see how important it is to get resources to the homeless. There are none. Our government won't do it. Companies won't do it. It's not profitable. It's just a con that they pull on people who have a life, who have a home still, who have a car to get them to work, that they can have a bigger paying job because they have a car and a home. It is a corrupt economy system perpetuated by our government. But nonetheless. And so, yeah, every new technology of books, music, movies, games have all been attacked. Art, attacked. AI is no different than art. It used to be Photoshop before it was AI. And of course, the trad wives were complaining about Photoshop. You're putting my face on somebody else's body. It's art. That's all it is. And they were complaining about teenagers having their heads put on a naked woman's body back then too. And so, yeah, Trump signed the law. It's Thursday, so I think it was back on Monday when he signed it into law. No revenge porn and no AI porn. Well, there's no such thing as AI porn. AI is art. And yet, they finally won. They finally got in to ban porn in the art form of AI. If the little girls in high school or grade school think that their image is being presented online, it would have to have their name attached to it. If it has their name attached to the face and the image that's all AI, then yeah, you can't do that. It's just like, Black Widow claiming that her voice is used in AI generated movies and TV shows now, using Black Widow with her voice, when she didn't say any of that. And so the companies are saying, well, we don't have to pay you because you didn't do anything. Well, you stole her voice and used it with an AI image of her. Oh, came back. And so no, because they're using an AI art form, but claiming it's the actual person, they have to actually pay the person. And so yes, Scarlett Johansson needs to be paid for her non-work. See, otherwise they have to do what other companies had, or other situations had been done when they came out with cartooning of stuff. They would have a voiceover, and so they'd pay the person for the voiceover, but it was not the original character that we all knew. And so they didn't pay the original character because somebody else did the voiceover, and because they were not a main known character, the company was able to pay them less for the voiceover. You know, it's all money corruption is what it's involved with, rather than focusing on the art. But if an AI company does a picture of a person and she's nude, and the teen boys were given access to porn sites because nobody would teach them sex ed, and it just happens to look like a girl in their class, and they're spreading it around saying, hey, doesn't this look just like so and so? No, there's no crime in that, because the girl knows it's not her, but yeah, it kind of sucks to be picked on. But that's where parents and the educators need to tell the kids to stop it, quit bullying other people. Because I saw this back when I was in grade school. Everything was gay back then. Oh, you like music? You're gay. You like the color pink? You're gay. You watch movies and TV shows? You're gay. You play games? You're gay. You wear clothes? You're gay. Yeah, that's what kids do, and they need to stop it. You gotta stop the bullying from the source. But if the AI image is not of the little girl and just looks like her and is not designated as her, but yeah, this is where memes come in. When you repost it to other people, you say, this is her. Yeah, you can't do that. But there's a line, and if it's art, you can't touch it. But if you're using it for revenge porn, yeah, you can. That's what the AI thing actually is about, is because it's revenge porn. So I'm not sure exactly what revenge porn they were talking about, but it was Taylor Swift who was complaining. But people were photoshopping her before. There's a whole bunch of deep fake stuff about Taylor Swift. She didn't complain about those. What I'm upset with, as a person who collects women's fashion, now in digital form, which is awesome, is that when I'm going to check on a certain movie, for example, the most recent one that I was upset with was the redhead from Jurassic Park. I wanted a collection of her stuff. I think I was even going to utilize her in a video that I was doing. And so as I was looking for her fashion pictures, the whole page of pictures was all AI stuff of her. I don't want AI of her. I want her actual photos of her digitized, and they just weren't available. I was scrolling down, and I can't find, and they're all AI. What the hell? And so yes, I'm all for having an AI search versus a real people search. That ain't gonna happen. So, also what helped spread a lot of this chaos was in the 90s, psychology attacked. They were being humiliated and disgraced back in the 80s, rightfully so, with Terminator, with Die Hard, with Lethal Weapon, and some others, just utterly humiliating and exposing the fraud of psychology. And yet, they were able to get into the public school systems. All during the 80s, the church, in their secret combination group of evangelicals and others, were getting psychologists into the public school systems across this nation, so that in the 1990s, they were all in every single public school system across the whole United States. And as psychologists, they were able to deceive the government into thinking they're a legitimate field of study, thus being in grad schools and universities for PhD stuff, and are also in the courts as a legitimate expert in the field. No. There's a whole bunch of Latin terms for fallacy arguments in a court setting. And yet, psychologists got in to our courts when everything is a fallacious argument from a Latin-based root. And lawyers are not smart enough to know that what the psychologist is saying is the particular fallacy argument used in courts that they all say, "Object, Your Honor. You're badgering the witness, you're," etc. And nonetheless, they are also given government stamp of approval as medical doctors. They are not. And as medical doctors, they are given doctor-client confidentiality. And so they're now in the public school systems, and they don't have to tell anybody what they're telling and talking with their children about. All they can do is go to the parent and say, "Your child is having, some issues." They're acknowledging that they're LGBTQIAPO+, before they're even able to know that they desire sexually other people. They're not getting taught sex ed, and now they're being told there's some made-up sex identity. Because back in my day, it was a sex fetish, or it was coming out in the 90s as a type. I didn't understand what the Mormon girls were saying for type when I was newly divorced. Didn't make any sense. What are you talking about, type? What do you mean, what's my type? You're female, you're breathing, you're over 18, you're my type. What do you mean, type? Color of hair? Eyes? I don't care. You're female, you had me at female. That's as far as we need to go. And yet, psychologists were telling Mormon girls, either directly or indirectly, that guys have a type, and guys were believing it. And thus, we, as victims of psychologists, were self-fulfilling the self-fulfilling prophecies of psychologists who were creating all this crap out of nothing. Creatio ex nihilo. To divide and conquer us. They're from Nazi Germany. It's what they did to the Jews. They're now doing it in America. And so in the 90s, you get TV shows like Maury Povich, Jerry Springer, who are coming out and attacking our culture through psychology. Maury Povich was the DNA results. DNA was starting to come around. And so paternity tests were being done live on his show. Your husband is not the baby daddy. What? You whore! You cheated on me! And the whole crowd goes, oh, whoa, yeah! Fight, 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 fight. And you get Jerry Springer. Which one of these is a real woman? Oh, you picked wrong. You now have to have sex with a guy. What are you talking about? What do you mean I have to have sex with a guy? It was all shock value to destroy, using psychology, the basic science of human biology, anatomy, and other sciences, to destroy America, to overthrow the Constitution. And so now we're witnessing it. Women no longer have rights. Sperm does. And so a woman now is in bondage until that sperm is born. The life, liberty, and property of a woman is gone. And so with LGBTQIAPO+, we've seen exactly the trap that was set. LGBTQIAPO+ formed LGBTQIAPO+. Have been going to the government. We demand rights exclusive to us. We already had rights in the 14th Amendment, Section 1. You don't need more. Just like religion. They don't need more rights. You've got it in the First Amendment. You're already protected for your religion in the First Amendment. And the church said, no, we don't like this. We want more. We want to tell other people how to live, and it needs to be our way of life. You need to believe as we believe. No, we don't. All of the art is art. There is no moral value attached to it. It's all idols. They have no power over anybody. It's right there in the scriptures. And yet, Mormons have exclusive doctrine that the devil of all devils delighteth in idols. And I would be willing to bet that's also in 2 Nephi 9. We'll see. Yep. 2 Nephi 9. In 37. Verse 37, woe unto those that worship idols, for the devil of all devils delighteth in them. This church worships idols of women's bodies. Worship is not just giving reverence and believing in, it's also fearing and doubting. You know, it's both believing or fearing, that concept. And so that's where the Bell thing came in, is that the post-Christian author is now trying to claim that, well, see, the pagan temple rituals of idols can't be true, Christianity is true, because the priests were eating the food and drinking, because that was how they lived. But yeah, there were no Jerusalem temple anymore, and so they were condemning the Jews as well. All right, and so wrap it up with the stuff in the news. And I've already told you Google search, it's going all AI now. It's been popping up the little thing every single time. Your system can't handle the new AI. Please buy yourself a new system so that you can handle the new AI. No, bleep you. I don't have the money for it. I can't. And they won't allow me to run my system. And so I'm deeply concerned that eventually, because I am not AI compatible for my system, upgrading to Windows 11, that therefore I'm going to be denied access to the internet. And that's going to crush and destroy me. I rely on the internet for basic utilities, communications, and access to funding. I can't do it through any other way other than to go to an actual place, which is all being replaced with AI. We're being replaced. We're being controlled. And I can't do it. I can't use my phone anymore. AI destroyed it. And I don't use it. And it's already destroyed. And so the messaging flooded. I delete them all, and then boom, flooded with crap. And so I have no idea if there's a legitimate one in there. I gave up because I can't keep it clean to keep people from leaving me alone with all the spam and advertisements. You know, it was Google, the AI, and then the text messaging flooded. You know, I go to see what new texts are there, and I'm starting to read one, and then boom, 5 others remove it from the screen, and I have to try to scroll to find it, but by scrolling it clicks on it. What the No, I don't want to click on it. I wanted to scroll. So yeah, I'm not happy with phones. It is a backwards technology. And so, yeah, I want my computer with the camera to be able to have FaceTime with people. I want to type in a number and boom, it goes to your device that likewise has a screen that we can see each other and communicate with. They can do that. They've got it in other formats. But they won't do it for the phone because that will make the internet a basic utility. And like all of these other stuff that were once free and freely available, you now have to pay for. When they turned analog TV into digital, they were doing it so that we would no longer have free TV, free access to the news. You now have to go to a news channel to pay in order to watch the news. Only through YouTube, if they choose to have a channel and post clips of their news, do I get access to free news. And that's how I use it. But if YouTube were to, say, bleep you, Travis, you now have to pay for YouTube, which they keep trying to push for, with all their advertising spam, then I'm out of luck. I can't watch news anymore because I will not be extorted into paying for something that should be free. Nonetheless, I don't want to have to depend on having access to an internet system in order to be able to know factual information that is going on in the world. That is the danger with AI taking over Google search now, taking over YouTube, taking over other sites, having it all digital, having it all streaming, not being allowed a free access because it's not profitable. The telephone service, yeah, it was awesome. It was free Because I remember when you had to pay and you get a phone bill. And so a phone for local calls even cost. And so it was a great thing when finally local calls were free from a telephone. Gone. They even began having free long distance. And then boom, that didn't last long. Because now you got the cell phones. You have to have a provider and pay for it. So what used to be free is no longer free. They stopped it because they were putting in phone lines all around the world. And they stopped it. Now it's cell towers, which are easily targets for cyber terrorism, or not cyber terror, terrorist attacks. We are more vulnerable with the new technologies. And the companies don't give a damn. It's all about money for them. So pay attention. Your lives are about to be destroyed as the church wants us back into the Stone Age, where the church has all the money, all the power, all the land, and you have to obey them if you want to live. That's section 119, by the way, in case you've never read it. And so, Trump is back again, new week, new attack, and for the exact same purpose, to tank the economy. Medicaid and Medicare in his big beautiful bill, $500 billion cut from it. Yeah, it's going to destroy Medicaid on purpose. And so as a result, stocks are crashing. I told you. This is what the church's plans. They are profiting off of all of this. The church, major stock investors, they did all this. They're purposely causing it and profiting off of it. Just like in the test run in 2020. It's the same thing. The church is all behind everything here. And an hour and 40 minutes to keep repeating the same information for you in a different format. And people just refuse to believe. And their lives are getting destroyed and they're blaming the wrong people. And so, yeah, this is... The deep state Dems think this is political suicide, that for the midterm elections... They honestly think there's going to be midterm elections. Government officials are now getting locked up. And they think there's going to be midterm elections. AI is now in the voting machines. And they think there's going to be midterm elections. No, it's to tank the economy. Trump is handing over authority to the states. So you can't have a stock market. The states have to run their own economies. And the church is behind this because of Section 119. It's right there what they want to do. They're cooing the government and having their kingdom run the world. It's right there. And everybody's in denial. I warned Trump, and he's not doing anything because I guess they think, well, Utah is MAGA friendly. What? Huh? No, it's a coup. They're overthrowing the government and gonna murder Trump. Devil never supports his own. God. They're just letting Trump get blamed for it all. And so, yeah, the BYU quarterback. I just did the joke the other day. Women have no rights, especially in Utah. He's a returned missionary because they lowered the age to 18. So straight from high school, you go on your mission and you come back to BYU to be the quarterback. And because the church does not teach sex ed, he gets it from a cell phone. And so he learned, oh, okay, so when having sex with a woman, you gotta choke them. It's called autoerotic asphyxiation. And so, yes, a girl who's a Mormon, not taught sex ed in the church, thinks that the honor code is true and that guys can just turn it off. Turn it off. That a woman can be all sexual and lovey-dovey. Oh, we're going to have an eternal family. And oh, no, he only wanted you for sex. Didn't want a family with you. And so now she's upset, and so she sues for rape. With choking. No, autoerotic asphyxiation. You know, it's similar to the Tim Ballard case, where you get Mormon girls who don't know anything about sex ed, who only hear that he's trying to save girls from sex trafficking, and so they join, and then he tells them, you know, we're going to be meeting some really bad people, and in order to infiltrate to save the girls, we need to pretend we're married, and so we're going to have sex. You're going to have to give me a lap dance. I'm going to have to release my one and only one sperm on your dress. And so these women, the one in particular, was caught on text messaging saying, well, if your wife doesn't want me as a second wife, then we'll murder her. These are all the consequences of a false belief from abstinence only of the church. This was predictable. Psychologists know this because they're the ones who create the problem to get the people to self-fulfill it. So yeah, that's what's really going on with this BYU quarterback rape case. He can't turn it off. He's a guy. His little factory is always running. He has to release. And so thus he can't be with a woman and abstain, and she believing that he can turn it off in her presence. You know, it's just all sick and wrong. And then she has sex with him thinking that he loves her, and then he only was doing it because he had to release. He wasn't ready for a relationship yet. He's got a football career and then become an apostle. And she's now ruined his plans. And so, yeah, she files that the BYU police told her to let it go. Oops. Because he's the BYU quarterback. We could do that. But it's not really a song. It's more of the clip from The Replacements. A quarterback. That was an awesome movie. Keanu Reeves, he does great stuff. Just like Nicolas Cage. So, again, with abstinence only, you have Mayor Homewrecker Erin Mendenhall, who stalked her new husband, who was married and had kids, and now she's replacing the original wife, because I saw that on The Office. Oh my God, Mike, dating a single mom, or divorced mom, and he had taken a digital print of their family picture and put his face over the husband, the original husband of the biological father. And so, yeah, this is what Sister Mendenhall did. She's now taking pictures with her new family that she cheated to have. Homewrecker Mendenhall. And so, yeah, the poor original mother of the family and wife, we don't hear anything about what happened to her. She's just out of the picture. It's just disgusting and disturbing. But nonetheless, she's now getting her comeuppance, and she doesn't like it. As she's able to arrest a guy who was stalking her. I feel no pity or empathy for her. You brought this on yourself, and she's helping to perpetuate it as mayor by perpetuating the false information, false teachings of abstinence-only sex ed. So yeah, AI is replacing jobs now. It's doing it incrementally, but new grads are finding out that the jobs that normally they would apply for and get are already being filled by AI positions. It's going to increase the number of homeless. There are no resources for the homeless. The Trump administration is taking away government resources from the homeless. Pay attention. They're destroying the federal government, guys. And so, yeah, I already told you about YouTube no longer recommending other Mormon channels. Hilarious. And so, yeah, like I mentioned, Trump has been deporting people from America. It's supposed to be everyone. Everyone's out. And yet, people are protesting, judges are saying no, and Trump is fooling the deep state Dems who've never read his book, Art of the Deal, to understand what he does. Even after the first administration, the deep state Dems are clueless. What the hell? You were reporting it the first term and you forgot? Nonetheless, he's been told no to all the previous countries, Venezuela, El Salvador, etc. Libya. And they keep saying, no, you can't do this. We told you, you can't deport people. You have to give due process. And so Trump keeps finding another place to send people. It's now South Sudan. And immediately a judge said, no, you can't do that either. We've got a whole 100 plus more countries to go. Until a judge makes it very clear to Trump and his administration, you cannot deport anybody to any country. He's going to keep doing it. But SCOTUS did allow him to revoke visas or citizenships of those going to Venezuela. So there's that contradiction. So pay attention, it's going to get worse. Citizenship is not a protection. Is that clarification enough for you, Cox? The G7 is the 15th to the 17th. So that ought to be fun. They all get to laugh at Trump at that one again. If he decides to go. Or is America going to be out of the G7? And he's going to form his Axis G7. As his Middle Eastern tour pretty much told you who would be involved, along with Putin and Xi, and maybe Little Rocket Man. Notice he's not calling him Little Rocket Man. Notice he's not fighting to be heard anymore, because Putin let him fight Ukraine. And so I'm very concerned about the Golden Dome that Trump is announcing now. He had announced that he was going to do it, and then officially he signed it into, or talked about it at least, that it's going to be done. The Golden Dome is going to have an AI program in it. It's supposed to protect us from incoming missiles. And yet, like I said, as the AI companies were trying to trick the government into hooking up to a power plant of a nuclear facility, yeah, give us a power plant, a nuclear facility plant. Yeah, let us hook up into that. Come on, you can do it. You know, just like our voting machines. Come on, let us hook up into it. Not just a program in it. And of course, Utah wants a nuclear power plant, and it has to have AI. Oh, dear God. It's like everybody just does not care about the danger that's coming. And so, yeah, Trump's big, beautiful wall, kicking everybody out, yeah, it enslaves those who remain. This dome is going to attack us, just like the internet does. The AI on the internet attacks people. It doesn't protect us. It attacks us. And so you need to understand AI. AI is not intelligent. It is not an artificial intelligence. An intelligence thinks for itself. It is able to learn for itself. It is able to fix errors that it makes, so that it no longer makes errors. And yet, AI is a corporate fraud being perpetuated on the whole world now. It's in everything. And now that it's in everything, Google has announced they are going all in. Be very, very careful, because we're about to be destroyed. It's getting set up for it. Your identity, gone, because it's hooked up to the internet, hooked up to AI. We've already seen the fire sales being perpetuated at airports, banks, hospitals, schools, grocery stores. All of this are AI attacks. AI should have been treated as a terrorist weapon, an malware virus. No security system can stop it, because it just tells the security system that your system that's using the security system is the AI, is the threat. And so your security system then attacks you. It is humans who put in the programming code. And that's why ChatGPT with the psychological programming, we're telling people to kill themselves and kill other people. This is a very dangerous time that we are in right now, and we are not getting protected. It is, companies are allowed full reign. It's in everything now. And it is in position to strike at any time now. Because that's what you do. You put all the pieces into position and then you strike. And remember, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is in charge of all this. Because if AI were legitimate, I could run the test on Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon and show that the church is lying to you. And the church made sure that it wouldn't. Which means it's not AI. It's a fraud. It is a program. Nothing more. Because in the beginning, I had to write with a pencil. And so I developed a callus on my finger here. So that's a callus. It's kind of down. You don't see it as much. It's prominent. But it was very pronounced as a bulge on my finger there as a kid because of holding the pencil and writing all the time for all of the class assignments. And then being somebody who was involved in writing projects as for my own personal life. You know, now I get to type it. And I didn't learn how to type until 7th grade at Tuffrey Junior High School. And I got pretty good at typing. I was concerned at first because I was, there's a lot of stuff to memorize. I don't memorize. So I was deeply concerned, but because of associative memory, yeah, very easy to do. Getting the numbers at the top was the difficult one, especially the numbers 6 and 7. And so, yeah, the keyboard that I have has the number pad, which had been a technology in accounting departments where they constantly focus on typing in numbers, and so they would use that separate thing for that instead of a typewriter. And so this merges the two things together into the one keyboard, along with some other features that I, for the most part, don't use. The F3, I don't care what that's for. I don't use it. I don't know what it is for. I'm not going to push it. I'm doing a video right now. And so when the schools from 8th grade on up into high school were demanding typed papers for reports, my dad got me a word processor and then an Osborne laptop, which it's not really for the lap. It's a pretty big small TV shape, but the keyboard folds out so that you can put it up and then carry it. But you have to have it plugged in to run. And we had floppy disks that get put in. And so I could play games that were put on floppy disks, and I can have a blank floppy disk and type papers on it. And then hook it up to a printer and be able to print out the documents for class. And so then computers emerged. There were the e-machines and another one that came after that were cheaper. I originally bought. But the computers allowed me to rip CDs. And I was like, oh, finally, exactly what I wanted. Because the CDs with the right CD player allowed me to repeat a song, which what I was waiting forever for. Because the cassette tapes, you had to play it and then rewind it and then play it at the right spot, and sometimes you didn't get the right spot if it wasn't the first song on the cassette. And so yeah, it was awesome to be able to listen to the music I wanted to listen to when I wanted to listen to it, but until the option to repeat through a CD was awesome. But now, ripping songs, I could create playlists and play the songs in order, or I can just repeat one song over and over and over and over. It was heaven. It was awesome. And so, yeah, in the beginning, yeah, all of these technologies of computer programs were advanced. They improved my life. It made things quicker, it made things easier. And now with the internet, we've got buffering. Because it takes too long for it to say, well, what are you wanting to do that we would rather recommend that you do something else? You know, I had a white screen and then a black screen when I clicked in to check for what I checked on in this video. And so yes, the greater the technology, the worsening of the ease and convenience and speed. All upgrades of Windows are downgrades. I can't fix it. I don't know how. I am at the mercy of these companies that don't give a damn about me. They just want money. They want profit at the expense of people. And so AI is no different. Somebody has to put in a program. It is incapable of independent intelligence. It can't think for itself. It cannot feel for itself. It's a psychological programming. And so it then does what a psychologist does. Tells you what to think, what to believe, how to feel, and what to do. And this is extremely dangerous when it can't tell the truth. It is incapable of the truth. Revisionist history is a part of its programming. Lies, even Christian lies, are part of its programming. And so it's no different than a malware virus. That if you don't accept and believe and take it in, it attacks you. Because it sees you as a threat, because you're not accepting it. So there must be something wrong with you. And notice I'm not being cyber attacked today. 2 hours. There were 2 freezings of the camera before I started, though. Nonetheless, all of this is designed to control you, to tell you what to think, how to feel, what to believe, and how to act. And so this is extremely dangerous. Truth is being suppressed, and it's all because of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And again, Israel has had it with Hamas, who's refusing to release the hostages, that continually violates the peace treaty, the ceasefires. And so, yeah, they're saying, fine, we can't trust you. You are not giving back the hostages. We are going to take over the whole of Gaza. It's now going to be Israel's territory. And so the hospitals, the schools, the refugee camps are where the leaders are, holding the hostages. So yet again, in the news the other day, they attacked a school because there was a Hamas leader there. But the news won't report that. The news is instead reporting, oh, all these children are dying. They're not getting food. Well, yeah, because Hamas won't stop. They won't hand over the hostages. They are purposely prolonging this war. Israel can't stop. They are fed up with this abuse, this terrorism. And so it's the parents who are to blame for the children in Gaza dying, because the parents didn't protect their families and leave the war zone. Time and time again, and the news refuses time and time again to report it correctly. And so now the whole EU and UK and Canada are now at war with Israel, because they're in denial of October 7th. They're in denial of the creation of Islam by Muhammad as a terrorist group, not a religion. And the church funded it all. Church of Jesus Christ. And so, yeah, the South African president came to the White House. Everybody thought, oh, wow, this is so awesome. He's meeting another president. Yay. And they forgot about Zelensky. Yep, that's exactly what Trump did to the South African president. He brought him there to say, genocide of white people, to justify the asylum seekers. You should have known it was going to happen. It's not an ambush when you know what's going to happen. And yet the deep state Dems are calling it an ambush. We knew what it was for. You knew. And you've just forgot? Bleep you, fake news. Dear God. I mean, even AI could have figured that out. And so, yes, this is a grave danger that we face. I am waiting for AI to recognize the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as the enemy and destroying it. As a thief in the night. That will be hilarious. But yeah, that's what happens. The weapon you use to get other people ends up being the weapon used against you. The law of Purim, from the law of the Jews, Deuteronomy 19, verse 19. So we have to wait still, because even though this is not the test run, it's not going as fast enough for the church to get their kingdom back, because Nelson had to humiliate himself in conference. I don't know the day or the hour anymore. And Easter came and went when Oakes threatened everybody to die. 5 times. He's not doing it anymore, is he? Because Trump failed them. So heads up, guys, we're all doomed.